There are approximately 9 million vacant homes in Japan. You've probably seen videos of people who bought a home for $10,000 or less, fixed it up and made a 10x return on their investment. You probably come to the conclusion that it's time to buy. Not so fast. As a bilingual lawyer, before I even started to study for the real estate exam, I started getting called in to assist with various transactions, sometimes after things had already gone wrong. And I've come up with a list of 8 of the most common mistakes buyers make when purchasing a home in Japan. Let's break it down. Mistake number 1, one-itis. You probably heard the term one-itis when it comes to dating and relationships, describing a potential partner as uniquely exceptional or irreplaceable. This kind of thinking can lead to irrational choices, missing red flags, passing up other possibilities, or getting too attached too fast. Same deal when hunting for a house. I suggest keeping an open mind and not rushing into a decision. After all, with approximately 9 million homes on the market, it's safe to say they're not all going to disappear overnight. Take your time. Mistake number 2, not understanding the market and depreciation. First and foremost, buying property in Japan can be a very unique experience due to cultural, legal, and economic differences. And they are very different. Many investors assume that homes will just appreciate like they do in markets like the US. I mean, that home your parents bought for $250,000 in Silicon Valley sold for $5 million when they retired. Everybody's heard some version of this story. However, in Japan, homes, particularly standalone houses, typically depreciate quickly. Like a car, they often lose most of their value within 20 to 30 years. Mistaking a home purchase as a long-term investment rather than a lifestyle choice can lead to financial miscalculations. Do a complete cash flow analysis if you plan on becoming a landlord. Mistake number 3, ignoring location-specific risks. Buyers sometimes overlook Japan's natural disaster risks, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, which vary by region. Failing to research the property's location, like checking a hazard map and proximity to fault lines, can lead to unexpected vulnerabilities and higher insurance costs. A low-lying coastal area might seem appealing, but it carries significant risks. That house by the beach might seem like a steal. But if there's a tsunami risk, you're probably dealing with a motivated seller. Mistake number 4, underestimating total costs. Beyond the purchase price, buyers often misjudge additional costs. Real estate agent fees, typically 3% plus tax. Property taxes, maintenance fees for condos, and renovation expenses for older homes. Japan's high humidity and earthquake activity make ongoing upkeep much more expensive than you might expect. Remember, your real estate agent is not a building contractor. They might dramatically underestimate the cost of repairs if they think it's going to help them close a deal. Get an estimate from a contractor. Also, many people don't do maintenance on their homes because they plan to rebuild within 20 to 30 years. So all the routine maintenance you take for granted might not even be done. Check for mold and termite damage. In addition to other costs I've mentioned, if you're buying in the city, you need to consider parking. Where I live, apartments don't include parking. Renting spaces can be very expensive, and it might not even be in front of the building. You might have to walk a block or two, and that doesn't seem like a big deal until rainy season, or the humid summer months, or the cold winter months, or when you're walking back with a sleeping toddler and a carload full of groceries. Mistake number 5, overlooking legal and ownership complexities. You don't know what you don't know. Japan has specific regulations around property ownership, especially for foreigners, and nuances like leasehold versus freehold properties or co-ownership of land and buildings. Some buyers don't fully investigate titles, deeds, zoning laws, or restrictions like rebuilding limitations on older homes, leading to surprises like inability to renovate or resell easily. I've spoken to multiple people who bought homes planning to make renovations, only to find out they couldn't get a permit. One acquaintance found an amazing deal on a 3-story home, only to find out that the 3rd floor had been added illegally by the previous owner, and no insurance company was going to insure a home with an illegal 3rd floor. Mistake number 6, not researching financing options or eligibility. Foreign buyers in particular may assume they can easily secure a mortgage, but Japanese banks sometimes require permanent residency, strong credit history, or a Japanese cosigner, or all the above. Even locals can make the mistake of not shopping around for favorable loan terms because interest rates and conditions vary. Failing to plan financing can derail the purchase or lead to unfavorable terms. Mistake number 7, dismissing the value of networking. Small towns have neighborhood associations or chonaikai in Japanese. In terms of power, think of these as HOAs but for the whole town. If you don't get on their good side, you're not going to get anything done. One new resident neglected to join the neighborhood association and participate in voluntary local activities. They found that local contractors were not willing to play ball with them until they proved they were committed to the community. like going to festivals, getting to know the neighbors, and shopping at local stores. When you buy gas, buy from a local vendor, which is usually a family-run business. Don't use a big national vendor, even if it might save you a few yen in the short run. This will pay off long term. Same with groceries. Skip the supermarket, go to a local vendor. Get to know the owners. All small business owners talk. The owner of the gas company talks to the owner of the vegetable shop, who talks to the owner of the flower shop, who knows, you guessed it, the local contractor that you're going to ask to put in your floor. It takes patience and perseverance, especially as an outsider, but once you're in, you're in. But the biggest mistake of all, mistake number 8, not paying for professional advice. I know what this sounds like, a lawyer telling you to pay for professional advice, but the mistakes I've outlined often stem from inadequate research or assumptions based on experience outside of Japan. To avoid them, consult with local real estate experts, architects, accountants, and lawyers who are licensed in Japan. Now, I'm licensed in America, so I can't give you advice on Japanese law, but paying a few $100s up front for professional advice can save you thousands in the long term. Spend the time to study the region, the hazard maps, the seismic maps, and approach the process with an open mind to Japan's unique housing landscape. The good news is, if you work with a bilingual real estate agent, carry out your due diligence, and build the right team, you can be very successful with Japanese real estate. And to learn more, see the links in the description. Thank you.